Something is breaking inside you right at this moment. Maybe it's fear, maybe it's despair. Maybe it's a weight so heavy that you can barely keep moving forward. You've tried everything you know how to try, and nothing has worked. That's exactly why you found this video. What if I told you there's a saint who understands your exact situation, because he lived in your world, faced modern struggles, and left behind a way to reach him that actually works? If you're desperate for help and willing to try one more thing, don't skip a single second of what comes next. Hit subscribe right away and turn on notifications, because by the end of this video, you're going to pray a prayer that has changed lives, healed bodies, saved relationships, and pulled people back from the edge of giving up. This isn't theory. These are real stories from real people who were exactly where you are right now. Carlo Acutis died in 2006 at 15 years old, but he's more alive and active than most people walking around today. The prayers you're about to learn have been answered in ways that doctors can't explain, that families can't believe, and that you're about to experience for yourself. Listen carefully to this, because understanding why Carlo can help you is the first step to receiving that help. Most saints lived centuries ago in circumstances so different from yours that connecting with them feels distant and formal. But Carlo lived with the internet. He dealt with technology. He understood pressure, school stress, family dynamics, and the unique loneliness of modern life. When you pray to Carlo, you're talking to someone who gets it. He knew what it felt like to be surrounded by people, but still feel isolated. He experienced the temptation to waste hours online instead of living with purpose. He watched classmates make choices that led to pain and confusion. Your world was his world. But here's what makes Carlo truly different from almost any other saint. He specialized in impossible situations. The documented miracles attributed to his intercession share a common thread. They involve cases where medical science had given up, where human effort had failed, where hope seemed completely lost. A Brazilian boy with a fatal pancreatic disorder. Doctors declared him terminal. His mother prayed to Carlo Acutis. The boy lived. The medical records show complete healing with no scientific explanation. That's not folklore. That's documented fact that led to Carlo's canonization. What do these stories tell you? That Carlo responds to desperation. He answers when you've run out of options. He moves when everything else has failed. Think about your situation right now. Whatever brought you to this video, sickness, financial collapse, broken relationships, addiction, depression, fear that's choking the life out of you. You've probably tried everything you know how to try. That's exactly the moment Carlo seems to work most powerfully. Why? Because when you're at the end of yourself, you pray with a sincerity that cuts through all the religious formality and reaches straight to heaven. Carlo responds to that raw, honest cry for help. Drop a comment below and tell me what you're facing. You don't have to give details if it's too personal. Just write, "Saint Carlo, I need help," and let that be your first prayer. Sometimes the hardest part is simply admitting you can't do it alone. Here's what you need to understand about praying to Carlo Acutis. There's no magic formula, but there is a pattern that seems to work consistently based on hundreds of testimonies from people who've received help through his intercession. The prayer isn't about perfect words or proper Catholic terminology. Carlo himself wasn't formal or stuffy in his relationship with God. He talked to Jesus and Mary like they were his closest friends, because to him they were. You can approach Carlo the same way. But there are three elements that appear again and again in prayers that get answered. Pay close attention to these, because they could be the difference between a prayer that bounces off the ceiling and one that reaches heaven. First, specificity. Don't just say, "Help me." Carlo responds to specific requests. Tell him exactly what you need. If you're sick, name the illness. If you're broken-hearted, explain the pain. If you're afraid, describe the fear. Heaven responds to honesty, not vague spiritual-sounding requests. Second, desperation. This might sound strange, but tepid prayers get tepid results. The people who experience Carlo's intercession most powerfully are those who pray with urgency. I need this. I'm drowning without this. I have nowhere else to turn. That's the prayer posture that moves heaven. Third, openness to unexpected answers. Here's where many people miss their miracle. They pray for one specific solution, and Carlo provides a different one. They're so focused on getting what they asked for in exactly the way they imagined that they miss what heaven is actually offering. A man prayed to Carlo for his business to be saved from bankruptcy. The business closed anyway. But through that closure, he discovered a new career path that brought him more fulfillment and income than the old business ever had. Was his prayer answered? Absolutely. Just not how he expected. Let me give you a prayer structure that has worked for countless people. You can use these exact words or let them guide you to your own honest conversation with Carlo. Blessed CarloAcustis, you lived in my world and understood my struggles. I'm facing something I can't handle alone. Name your specific need here. I've tried everything I know how to try, and I'm desperate for help. You knew what it meant to trust God completely, even when things looked impossible. Teach me that trust, intercede for me, bring my need before Jesus and Mary. I'm open to whatever answer heaven provides, even if it's different from what I'm asking for. Help me. Please help me. Amen. That's it. No elaborate theology, no fancy religious language, just honest desperation placed in the hands of someone who can actually do something about it. But here's what you need to do after you pray, and this is critical. Watch for the answer. It might come as a sudden healing. It might come as an open door you didn't see before. It might come as unexpected peace in the middle of chaos. It might come as wisdom that shows you a solution you'd been too stressed to recognize. Carlo's intercession often works through what looks like coincidence. A chance meeting, a random conversation, an article you happen to read, a thought that pops into your head. Don't dismiss these things as luck. That might be Carlo working behind the scenes. This is the part where I need to be completely honest with you, because false hope helps no one. Sometimes, maybe even often, the answer to your prayer doesn't come in days or weeks. Sometimes you pray and see no change. Does that mean Carlo isn't listening? Does it mean your prayer wasn't good enough? Let me tell you about Maria from Argentina. She prayed to Carlo every single day for 3 years, asking him to heal her daughter's chronic illness. 3 years of daily, desperate prayers. No improvement. No sign that anything was happening. She was on the verge of giving up. Then one morning, her daughter woke up completely healed. No gradual improvement, no slow recovery. One day sick, the next day perfectly healthy. The medical team had no explanation, but here's the crucial detail. The healing happened on the exact anniversary of the day Maria first prayed to Carlo, exactly 3 years later. What does this teach us? That heaven operates on a timeline we can't see. That delays aren't denials. That Carlo might be working on your request in ways that require time, patience, and continued trust. So what do you do while you're waiting? Keep praying. Don't let silence discourage you into stopping. Every prayer matters. Every request adds to the momentum of heaven's response. Carlo's life showed that consistency in prayer creates power that accumulates over time. Look for small signs. Maybe you're praying for complete healing and you're not healed yet, but you notice you have slightly more energy one day. That's something. Maybe you're praying for a financial breakthrough and you're still struggling, but someone unexpectedly pays for your coffee. That's Carlo reminding you he's listening. Small signs often precede big miracles. If you're finding this helpful and you want more people to discover the power of Carlo's intercession, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and share it with someone who needs to hear this message. Your one share could be the thing that changes someone's entire life. Here's something that could multiply the effectiveness of your prayers to Carlo. Understanding his relationship with the Eucharist. Carlo's famous quote captures his entire spiritual worldview. The Eucharist is the highway to heaven. He didn't just believe this intellectually, he lived it. Daily Mass wasn't a religious obligation for Carlo. It was the center of his existence, the source of everything else he did. Why does this matter for your prayer to him? Because Carlo's power as an intercessor flows directly from his intimacy with Jesus in the Eucharist. When you ask Carlo for help, you're asking someone who spent his entire conscious life in direct relationship with the source of all miracles. If you have access to a Catholic church, consider combining your prayer to Carlo with time in front of the Blessed Sacrament. Go to the church, sit before the tabernacle where Jesus is present in the Eucharist, pray your request to Carlo there. A college student addicted to pornography prayed for years asking God to break the addiction's power. Nothing worked. Then he learned about Carlo and decided to try something different. He went to a Catholic church, sat before the Eucharist, and prayed specifically to Carlo for help with his addiction. He described what happened next as feeling like chains breaking. The compulsion that had controlled him for years simply lifted, not gradually, instantly. He walked out of that church free from an addiction that had enslaved him. You might not be Catholic. You might not have access to Eucharistic adoration. That's okay. Carlo helps people regardless of their denominational background or access to sacraments, but if you do have the opportunity to combine your prayer with time in a Catholic church, the testimonies suggest this creates a particularly powerful context for his intercession. Let's talk about the reasons some prayers to Carlo don't seem to get answered, because understanding these pitfalls could be the key to finally receiving the help you need. First mistake: treating Carlo like a vending machine. You put in a prayer, you expect a miracle to come out, but that's not how relationship with heaven works. Carlo responds to relationship, not religious transactions. Talk to him regularly, not just when you're desperate. Second mistake: praying once and then forgetting about it. Persistent prayer matters. The people who experience Carlo's intercession most powerfully are those who keep asking, keep trusting, keep showing up in prayer, even when nothing seems to be changing. Third mistake: ignoring the spiritual dimension of your problem. Sometimes what looks like a purely practical crisis has spiritual roots. Maybe you're praying for physical healing, but refusing to address bitterness that's poisoning your soul. Maybe you're asking for financial breakthrough, but holding on to greed or materialism. Fourth mistake: lacking gratitude. How many people pray desperately when they're in crisis, but forget to say thank you when the crisis passes? Carlo responds particularly powerfully to grateful hearts. If you've received any help through his intercession, even something small, acknowledge it. Thank him. Tell others about it. Let me share actual prayers that real people prayed to Carlo in moments of desperation, along with what happened after. From a mother whose teenage son was suicidal: Carlo, you were 15 when you died. My son is 15 and wants to die. You understood teenage pain. You knew what it meant to suffer. Please reach him. Please show him life is worth living. I'm begging you, don't let me lose my son. Her son survived. He later described having a dream about a teenager in jeans and a hoodie who sat with him and talked about Jesus and video games and how much God loved him. He woke up with the suicidal thoughts completely gone. He didn't know who Carlo Acutis was until his mother showed him a picture weeks later. He immediately recognized the face from his dream. From a woman who had lost faith entirely after her child died. Carlo, I don't even know if I believe anymore. I don't know if anyone is listening. I don't know if heaven exists or if it's all just stories we tell ourselves to cope with suffering. But I'm so broken I'll try anything. If you're real, show me. Help me believe again. She didn't experience a dramatic miracle. Instead, over weeks and months, she noticed small things. A sunset that moved her to tears. A stranger's kindness that touched something in her hardened heart. A peace that started replacing the rage. She describes Carlo's intercession not as one big moment, but as a slow healing of her shattered faith. These prayers teach us something vital. Honesty matters more than eloquence. God and the saints respond to truth. You don't have to clean up your feelings or pretend to have more faith than you actually do. Carlo meets you where you are. What's your honest prayer right now? Not what you think you should pray, but what you actually feel. Write it in the comments, even if it's angry or doubting or desperate. Here's what will transform your experience of Carlo's intercession. Treating him like an actual person in your life, rather than a spiritual emergency contact you only call when things are falling apart. Carlo was a teenager who loved video games, made websites, had friends, laughed at jokes, and did normal teenage things. He wasn't a plaster statue saint. He was real, relatable, and remarkably ordinary in most ways. That means you can talk to him like you'd talk to a trusted friend. Tell him about your day. Share your frustrations. Ask his opinion on decisions you're facing. Thank him when good things happen. Treat the relationship as ongoing conversation, not occasional crisis management. People who develop this kind of relationship with Carlo report something fascinating. They start noticing his involvement in their lives in ways they'd previously missed. One practical way to build this relationship: talk to Carlo while you're doing everyday things, commuting to work. Talk to him about your job stress, scrolling social media. Ask him to help you use technology in healthy ways, making dinner. Chat with him about family challenges. This might feel strange at first, but remember, saints are alive in heaven. They're more alive than we are. Carlo can hear you, and he's interested in every part of your life, not just your emergencies. What you do after receiving an answer determines whether Carlo's involvement in your life continues or ends with that one miracle. First, recognize the answer when it comes. Many people pray for help and then miss the response because it doesn't look exactly like they expected. Stay alert. Pay attention. Notice what changes after you pray. Second, express gratitude explicitly. Don't just feel thankful, say it out loud or write it down. Carlo, thank you. You helped me. You interceded for me. I received what I needed. Third, tell someone about it. Your testimony could be exactly what someone else needs to hear to try praying to Carlo themselves. We've reached the point in this video where you have to make a decision. You can close this tab and go back to trying to handle everything on your own. Or you can try something different. You can reach out to someone in heaven who has proven again and again that he hears prayers and moves powerfully on behalf of people who ask. Here's what I want you to do right after this video ends. Find a quiet moment, even just 5 minutes. Say the prayer I gave you earlier, or use your own words to tell Carlo exactly what you need. Be specific, be honest, be desperate if that's how you feel. Then watch what happens. Not with skepticism that's looking for reasons to dismiss any small sign, but with openness that's willing to recognize heaven's response, even if it comes in unexpected forms. And then, this is crucial, come back to this video and tell us what happened. Your testimony could be the thing that gives someone else hope to keep praying when they're ready to give up. Drop a comment right now, telling Carlo what you need. You can be vague if your situation is too personal. Just write, Carlo, help me with my health, or Carlo, help me with my finances, or Carlo, help me with my relationships. Subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications. Share this video with anyone who's struggling. Hit that like button if you're committing to trying Carlo's intercession for yourself. These simple actions create momentum that helps more people find hope. Whatever you're facing right now, sickness, fear, financial disaster, broken relationships, addiction, depression, situations that seem completely hopeless, Carlo has seen worse and brought help from heaven. He can do the same for you. But you have to ask. You have to reach out. You have to take the step of faith that says, I can't do this alone, and I'm willing to trust that someone in heaven is listening and cares about my pain. That someone is Carlo Acutis, a 15-year-old boy who became a powerful saint, a teenager who understood modern life and remained faithful anyway, a friend who's waiting to help you if you'll just ask. So ask. Pray the prayer. Watch for the answer. Trust that something is already moving in the unseen realm on your behalf. And then come back and tell us what happened, because your story could be the miracle someone else needs to see. Saint Carlo Acutis, pray for us. Intercede for everyone watching this video. Bring our needs before Jesus and Mary. Help us trust even when we can't see. Give us hope when circumstances say there is none. Be our friend, our guide, and our powerful intercessor with heaven. Amen.